I'm strictly looking right here at the posture of your pelvis, right? So if we looked at like essentially the posture of your hips, okay, what we want to do, just to give you this explanation, what we want to do when we're on a slope was we want to utilize the slope. We want to utilize the angle of the slope to allow us, to allow our bodies to accelerate greater, right? We're accelerating into front foot strike greater because we're abiding by gravity. We get to use gravity to accelerate our body. Now, I see a lot of cases in which, acceleration is forced. Talk about like unauthentic acceleration versus like kind of an authentic acceleration through efficient hip rotation mechanics. So what I'm seeing with you is it's kind of two pieces. I think A, as I mentioned, could be, like a heel connection, conscious thought type thing. B, it could be a movement capacity, like a mobility restriction of your hip movement. Or I guess even C, just a movement issue, like just an inefficient movement issue. So let's dive into this, okay? So sinking early. Now we're looking at the hips and the posture of the hips. Right here, we're in a decent spot as we kind of separate our hands. So if we look and drew like a line with your hips, we can see that they kind of just stayed level for a long duration of this drive phase. I say long duration, but it's like 4 clicks, but it's somewhat of a longer duration. See how they stay level, and then you kind of get into a little bit of early hip extension with this drive leg here. Kind of see your knee get into extension here, which kind of forces you almost. I know you're not doing this, but it almost looks as if you're like pushing off the back of the foot and elevating you. And now what happens as you approach front foot strike is you then just fall into front foot strike. So this is why I say I do believe that there is a piece to this that's a movement like capacity restriction, like your body is protecting against the limited amount of range of motion that you have in this posture here, because I think if you had opened up all of this movement capacity and you had the potential, you would just keep sinking. You would just keep sinking. That's my thing with hip rotation mechanics. There's a couple different components to that make hip rotation mechanics efficient. But the biggest thing that I see is continuously sinking the hips. Right? We want to continuously sink with the angle and match the angle of the slope, which is going to then continuously give us acceleration. All right, let me see if I have actually a example. Yeah, this is it right here. Such a good example. So check this out. This is the 3 balls. All right, and and they're gonna drop the balls with 3 different types of slopes, essentially. One slope is like kind of going just straight down. One is going, a little bit tilted in the beginning with an aggressive slope or aggressive sink early, and then kind of just going throughout, while the other one is kind of just a drop all the way down and then move laterally. So watch what happens. So all 3 balls, dropped at the same time. So watch which ball really picks up acceleration and stays that acceleration throughout the whole time. It's the one that should look like our hip rotation mechanics, right? So we have that sink upon descending from leg lift, right? So that sink is our loading pattern of our drive leg. So that sinkage doesn't really stop, right? We keep going throughout the entire drive phase until then we get into that point of which we anchor down into the ground, right? And that's that piece that's going to really influence a greater rate of acceleration. It's what I say, like with authentic acceleration. Use the efficient drive leg mechanics and the efficient hip rotation mechanics to authentically accelerate into front foot strike. Let's tie a nice little bow around this with this beautiful video here of Josh Hader. That early sink loads drive leg. Now watch the posture, right? Like watch the angle. Just continuously sinks. Sink, 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 sink. See that extension he's getting though while holding, maybe you can't see that. Here we go. See how he's grasping that extension while counter rotating, still loading and still applying energy into the ground. And now, boom, we snap that, internally rotate. I didn't realize the video moved like that, sorry. And then boom, gives us a greater point of anchor down into the front foot. We're stable here. And see how he kind of rotated, he internally rotates with the rear hip into rotation, or into front foot strike. Whereas with you, see how you kind of have that early knee extension, and then now we're restricted. Okay, we can't really extend anymore. We can't really like get further. So we just fall. So we fall into that anchor point. All right, dudes, thank you for watching that video. If you're interested in booking your own analysis, be sure to click that link. Also, I'm going to be doing a lot of giveaways here in the upcoming months on my YouTube channel, but you need to be subscribed in order to be entered in those giveaways. All right, so you're going to click that link right there to subscribe, to provide some more context on the specific thing that we were just talking about. I included a video right down below. All right, guys, enjoy your day. God bless. Until next time.